G'day guys, Chris from Racecraft Simulations back again for another review video. We thought Johnny might have learned his lesson after we did the Alpha Mini review, but no, we're back this time and we're in for the Simagic SQ, the sequential shifter. They call it the Q1. And this is Simagic's answer to the sequential shifter market, which is a bit of an interesting one because there's many different levels you can get into the market. You can get in cheaply with the simple plastic shifters that come with the likes of the Logitech and the Thrustmaster wheel setups, or you can go a little bit more spending if you want to go up in the market with things like the TH8A, which is an adaptable H pattern, to sequential shifter, the same with the Fanatec SQ1.5, which you can get both, and they're pretty good value for money for what you're getting out of them because you get a large range of uses out of them having the H pattern and a sequential as well. But when we get further up in the market into dedicated sequential shifters, there's a bit of a gap in the market between what's more affordable and what can hurt the pocket and then what can be pretty extreme. And I think the Simagic can actually fill that void, as they probably are targeting to do just the same as they are with their inexpensive range of direct drive wheelbases and their really, really high-end wheels for what you get for the money. So let's dive into it. This will be a two-part review. The first part right here in-house at Racecraft Simulations, getting stuck into the Q1 sequential shifter, and then I'll go home and get it mounted up on my rig and take you for hopefully a driver's eye view to feel out what it feels like, what it sounds like, and how immersive it is on the rig itself. So let's do away with the box because that's actually empty. And here's one I prepared earlier. This is the Simagic Q1 Shifter. On the surface, it's a mechanism we've seen before from other manufacturers in the market. It's tried and tested, so it's not really going to be a big surprise that this actually feels quite unique. You pick it out of the box and you grab it straight away and you rip on it, and it's got a fairly decent tactile feel. You actually have a cantilever down to a rod end down here with a set of spring-loaded sliders underneath, and they have two teeth that slide back and forth and turn this planetary style gear, which runs against a spring-loaded ball, which is adjustable straight through the stem right here, and that changes the tension that you have when you're trying to rip through the gears around the racetrack in your simulator. So a pretty tried and true and proven process of getting the feel. As far as the form factor, it's a decent size. It's not too big, not too bulky. If you're trying to bolt it up to a 40mm rig, you might end up with a janky looking setup. It might be a bit too big because this is 80mm wide, or wide enough to fit onto an 80mm piece of extrusion. So if you have an extrusion rig, you're probably going to benefit from getting it onto an 80mm piece, but you're not going to be stuck for mounting opportunities. I mean, if you can't find a way to mount this bad boy with all the holes in the bottom, you're doing something wrong, because there is a lot of holes in the bottom here. It has two slots to go into an 80mm extrusion, or if you are bolting it to a 40mm extrusion, you've got holes front and back, and it uses M6 mounting hardware. So you are going to need some M6 T-nuts, although it does come with some straight out of the bag here. This is a beauty of Simagic. They come prepared. In the box comes with some mounting hardware, ball sprung T-nuts ready to go, and some screws, little button heads. And also it comes with, I'm not sure yet whether it's a replacement or whether it is an optional ball, but it does come with another ball in the bag that you can pull out the stem, replace the ball, and if it's an option, you can get a different feel, maybe a quieter operation of your shifter, because it is pretty damn loud. And if you're like me, my simulator sits in a room directly adjacent to my bedroom. I go racing at midnight and my girlfriend gets upset because my paddles are too loud. So this might cause a rift in my household during the testing phase. But on the surface, it looks fantastic. At a price point of $650 for this model, there is two different model variants available. The first one being the standard with a shorter shift knob on top, and that's available for approximately $600 from simrigs.com right here in Australia. Or if you like your things a little bit longer, you can go for the extended shift knob, and it's coming in at $650 on simrigs.com. For the money though, you're not just getting a shifter, and that's the beautiful thing about it. You are actually also getting 4 buttons, 3 of which you can use. There is one that cannot be mapped to the sim, and you also get yourself a gear display. Pretty cool. We'll dive into that further when we get it on the rig and mount it up on my Formula style rig at home. It's going to take a little bit of work to get it mounted, but we'll get there in the end. As far as the overall construction, it looks solid. A nice black anodized aluminium finish. It's not too heavy. A solid machine, single piece lever, which is looking fantastic as well. And then this, John said it's wood, which it does look like it's wood, but it's kind of like a nylon with a steel insert of sorts holding it on, and it's a bloody long thread on top as well. But the shift handle is unique. There is an optional version of this, and we were trying to see whether this thread is a universal fit, so you could go and fit any of your crazy shift knob threads. We did try and rip one off a jink shifter that we have in-house, but the jink shifters are a male thread and this is a female, so that's not going to work either. But there may be other options out there that you can quickly adapt an aftermarket shift knob. Just go down to your local auto parts store, take the knob with you, and see whether you have any luck. On the surface, it looks fantastic. Can't wait to get it mounted up on the rig. The form factor itself, the shape is a little odd, but it does look the goods. The height is pretty bulky, so if you do have limitations with your rig width and how you can mount the extrusion to mount the shifter without it fouling with the seat, you might have a couple of issues there. You might need to space out your shifter bars to get this to work, so you can get the shift handle at the right height. The display is buried behind a tinted clear piece of what looks like perspex that's actually sunk in, and what's quite unique about this so far, it looks like there is 2 USB ports and no box. So there's no externals to this required to make it run except for the included USB cable, and it's a pretty long one as well. It's pretty cool. We've got the USB connection for both ends and it bangs straight into your computer, and this looks like it's reversible. So what we should be able to do is we should actually be able to sit it in the rig like so, and I'll be able to shift through the gears with the adjuster nut and the buttons and the selector, the gear indicator, sorry, facing away from me, or if I want to, I can flip it around and have everything facing me like you would expect in a regular race car. It's cool that they've included all the buttons because it's something that you don't get on other shifters, although there is no lever the likes of which we're used to in the Australian market, having that lockout or having an extra button to use on the shifter. We do get 3 mappable buttons and a program button available on the shifter as well. We'll be going through that in part 2, I am sure. So things look really cool. I hope, for the sake of having 2 USB ports, that Simagic have thought of having the ability to flip it around and then your gear indicator is upside down. So hopefully when we get into mounting it up onto my rig and checking it over, that we have some way of flipping that indicator around so you can at least look down and see the correct number and not see a H when you should be in 4. So that does it for part 1 of the review. A great looking shifter from Simagic. We'll get it mounted up on the rig for part 2 from Racecraft Simulations. Stay tuned, we'll be coming at you with more for the Simagic Q1 Sequential Shifter.